Okay, here we have a seat post from a down-to folding bike. Pretty much starting in 2009, almost all of our bikes have 30.4 seat post diameters. We were using 27.2 on some previous, but for the most part, it's not completely true, but for the most part, almost every model has a 30.4 seat tube diameter. All our seat posts are 500 millimeters long, which generally are going to be kind of difficult to replace. What some people have done, if you need extra length, is they put these things called butt buddies. What they do is they give you some suspension, they also push the saddle back. They attach a seat post and then you attach a saddle to the butt buddy. And there are other things like setback adapters, like something that triathletes use, pushes the saddle back and up a bit. So you attach a setback adapter onto the seat post and then the saddle onto the setback adapter. So there are tricks that exist to actually create more length. In addition, another trick that some people have done is they actually chop the seat tube. When I say chop, what I mean is they use pipe cutter to cut it, put the seat tube all the way in, and then they put another seat post inside the seat post. So they create a telescoping seat post. Alright, so that's a little bit of background on what we're using starting in 2009 models as far as seat posts. And really, the most important thing about a seat post is how to adjust it. And so the height adjustment is a quick release, but really what's I think most difficult is setting the proper saddle angle. And so what we're going to do here, this is the clamp that bites down on the saddle to keep it in place. And I'm just going to loosen it, and you can see that this moves around, so I can set the angle. There's quite a wide range. I'll tighten it up again before everything goes out of whack. And so now that would be how I would set my saddle angle. So let's actually set the saddle angle on a bike. Now keep in mind, the saddle angle is going to be different from on the bike. The saddle is going to be in a different plane. It's not going to be in the vertical plane. However, let's just assume for a minute that it is in the vertical plane. So how would I want to set my saddle angle? Ideally, what you want to do is you want to have your saddle essentially parallel to the ground. So our goal is to have it parallel to the ground. That'll be a good beginning point. And when do I want to have it parallel to the ground? Well, actually, you don't want it parallel to the ground until you sit on it. The whole point is, if it's angled downward, you might slide down the saddle. If it's angled upward, generally it's going to put pressure in areas you might not like. So generally you want it to be parallel to the ground, so you're not going to slide down and you're not going to get weird pressure. At the same time, if it's parallel to the ground and you sit on the bike, actually it's going to be angled upwards because you're going to put pressure on the back of the saddle in many cases, at least on softer saddles at least. So hence the goal is actually have it parallel to the ground when you're sitting on the saddle, right? So you want it to be horizontal while seated. And generally the rule of thumb is, that should be very comfortable. If it's not very comfortable, what you do is you just knock it down a little bit until you do believe it's, optimally comfortable. You obviously should not knock it down too far because you'll slide up and down too frequently on the saddle. It's going to cause nothing but problems. So hence, if I wanted to make this horizontal, let's say, parallel to the ground would be a better statement.